Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I posted, so to make up for it, I decided to do something a little bit more fun and different. So, I don't know about you guys, but I have an ongoing debate with my friends and family of who played the best Spider-Man. Was it Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland? I will tell you who I personally like the most at the end of the video, but we're going to figure out who is the best in general. I have a total of 8 different categories, and we're going to go ahead and list each one. Each time somebody wins that category, they'll get a point. But to make things fair, Andrew Garfield's movies only have 2. Tom Holland technically has 2 solo Spider-Man movies, but he also does appear in Civil War, Infinity War, and stuff like that. So to make it fair, we're only going to count Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies, and only the first and second of Tobey Maguire's movies. Which really stinks because his third one is my favorite. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I have columns right here. I realized I should have wrote them backwards, but I didn't have the time or the patience for that. Or the brain power. Anyways, we're just going to roll with it. So this one's Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and then Tom Holland. Let's get started. The first category is going to be Best Suit. Okay, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. My personal opinion, Tom Holland has to win that one, mainly because Tony Stark made his suit. It's the coolest looking one, and if you don't agree with me, I mean, you do you, but let's just be honest. Even if you like the other ones, it's gotta be Tom Holland. That is, the most crooked line ever. Hold up. There we go. Alright. So the second category is Best Love Interest. For those of you who don't know, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker falls in love with Mary Jane, Andrew Garfield's falls in love with Gwen Stacy, and Tom Holland's falls in love with Mary Jane. Tobey Maguire and Mary Jane, they have a good relationship, but it's on and off through the first and second movie and even the third movie. So I'd probably say that they probably don't win the best love relationship, but his Mary Jane is my favorite love interest. Andrew Garfield, Gwen, and Peter Parker and that are adorable. So cute. Which is why the ending of it. I'm not going to really say it just in case you haven't seen it, but I will spoil out of context. Basically, the ending ruins my life. But I love their love relationship. And then Tom Holland and his Mary Jane, I feel like they can have more of it. They're just it kind of just seemed out of nowhere, if that makes sense. Because he was so about the other girl in the first movie, and then the second movie is all about Mary Jane. So I don't know. It's confusing. But for this one, it's gotta be Andrew Garfield. Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy are adorable in it. I love them so much. Okay. The third category is the best save. Who has the best save? Which can be who saves the best, or I can tell you this, it's not going to be Andrew Garfield. Spoiler out of context. So he's just out there. So I have Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. Who has the best save out of those 2? I'm trying to think. Tobey Maguire saved when Mary Jane, and he has to choose between Mary Jane and the school bus of children. I mean, that's a good save, and it's such an iconic scene. So I think would have to go to Tobey Maguire, mainly because Tom Holland hasn't really had a major save yet. Usually he's just saved himself, which I'm not complaining. But he did save his class from the elevator, which is a good save. But it could have been cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Tobey Maguire. Category, it is best friend / sidekick. Tobey Maguire's friend in this movie is Harry Osborn. But they're not really the best pals in it. They were before Spider-Man happened. So they're pretty good in the first movie, except until Harry steals Mary Jane from him. But he wasn't making a move. Come on, Pete. And then Andrew Garfield doesn't really have a friend, so I'm going to count Gwen Stacy as his friend. And then Tom Holland has Ned. Personally, I love Harry Osborn. I'm a stan for Harry Osborn. I love him so much. He's my favorite Spider-Man character ever. I love him. So automatically, I'm going to give the point to Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland, I love Ned, though. He's hilarious, especially in the second one. he has me dying the whole time. But just because Harry Osborn is in fact like a Spider Universe character, and just in general, like Spider-Man and Harry Osborn are like best friends. Peter Parker and Harry Osborn, like they're the best pals. I'm gonna have to go ahead and give that to Tobey Maguire. Alrighty. So, best villain in their first movie. So we're gonna do the first and second movie. The best villain in the first, well, each one. So Tobey Maguire's villain that he fights in the first movie is the Green Goblin. Andrew Garfield's is Dr. Connors, and Tom Holland is the Vulture. So Vulture and like all of those are just like major Spider-Man characters. But I feel like the Vulture wasn't as good as it could have been in the Tom Holland one. Just like compared to like the different shows and comics and stuff. He wasn't like the best. For Dr. Connors, he was really cool in Andrew Garfield's. And then for Tobey Maguire, I have to give it to Tobey Maguire. It's the Green Goblin. I know it looks like I'm standing Tobey Maguire, but listen, he had the Green Goblin, which is an Osborn. And since I love Harry Osborn, I'm going to have to give it to him. I am not just... I got my pin. I am not just stereotyping him, I swear. Listen, I gave them some points. Alright, so for the best villain for the second movie, Tobey Maguire in his second movie fights Doc Ock, which is also an iconic character. Andrew Garfield fights like 1,000. He fights Electro, Green Goblin as Harry Osborn, and Rhino. And then Tom Holland fights Mysterio. So, obviously, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, they fight like some of the most iconic characters. But Tom Holland fights Mysterio, which is honestly a Spider-Man villain that is very rare. So, for originality, Tom Holland gets a point for the second supervillain. Alrighty. Now, moment of truth. Who plays the best Spider-Man? Tobey Maguire, I feel like, is like the first original Spider-Man. So he has that going for him. But I feel like his best Spider-Man comes out from in episode 3. Oh my gosh. In the third movie. It's not a show. Anyways, Andrew Garfield. He does a pretty good job. He does a lot of quips, which is like Spider-Man's thing. And then Tom Holland, he's just like really excited to be Spider-Man. Which is why like his character doesn't really remind me of Spider-Man. He reminds me of Miles Morales. Because he's just so excited. And then I think, honestly, it's going to have to be Andrew Garfield. After the second movie, though, he could have done that save. I'm not going to say it just in case some of you haven't seen it, but he could have done that save, which is why I question if he was a good Spider-Man, but because of the quips he does and, like, I don't know, his moves are really good, too, so I'm going to have to say that Andrew Garfield is probably the best Spider-Man. Alrighty, and then the last category is who is the best Peter Parker? So, Tobey Maguire is, like, the nerdy Peter Parker. He's, like, the nerdy one. Andrew Garfield's just, like, the quiet kid. Like, kind of minds his own business. He's not really, like, a nerd. He's smart, but he's not, like, dorky smart. And then Tom Holland is smart, but he's, like, the flyest kid in school. Like, anyways, so, who do I think is the best Peter Parker? Tobey Maguire's great until he gets Spider-Man powers, and then he doesn't really remind me of Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield is, like I said, not, like, dorky enough. Tom Holland, though, is, like, dorky, like, awkward enough. But, like I said, his, like, character reminds me more of, like, Miles Morales than it does Spider-Man. But I'm going to have to go ahead and give him a point for the best Peter Parker. Just because he's excited to be Spider-Man, which I feel like is how it would be. So, we have a tiebreaker. It's between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. So, to settle this, to just try to find who is the best in general, I'm going to leave it to you guys to put in the comments, who do you think the best Spider-Man is between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland? Just go ahead and comment Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland, and then in like a month or so, I'll count them up and I'll do another video of the reveal of who is the best Spider-Man. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys didn't get bored to death. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. And for the moment of truth of who my personal favorite Spider-Man is out of the live action actors. Okay, so personally, I like the Spider-Man from the Marvel Spider-Man, the cartoon. But my favorite out of the live action would probably be Tobey Maguire. Mainly because I grew up with his movies, and that's my Spider-Man. And Harry Osborn and such. And my favorite movie is the third Spider-Man, in case you're wondering. So not having it in this was very hard. But in general, make sure to comment Tom Holland or Tobey Maguire, whichever one is your personal favorite, and who you think played the best in the new Spider-Man movies.